Welcome to the Veronica Edwards Show, where we have fun financial conversations that everyone listening can apply to their personal and professional life. I am your host, Veronica Edwards, CPA, and today we are back for the last episode in 2025 in season 6. Again, got to shout out Balance Virtually, LLC, my accounting and consulting business that is the sponsor for the Veronica Edwards Show, but we are always looking for sponsors, for guests, for loyal listeners. We are almost 75% to our 100 YouTube subscriber goal. So please listen. Check us out over at veronicaedwards.buzzsprout.com for the audio only, or right where you're at on YouTube. So let's jump in. I'm super excited to end the year with a small biz chat edition with Ebony Robinson Austin, also known as Ebony Sharonda. She is the powerhouse behind Ebony Sharonda Consulting and the creator and host of the Ebony Sharonda Show, also on YouTube, where she shares content on faith, clarity, confidence, and activation. So if you haven't checked out any of the things Ebony Sharonda, we were just talking about that before the show, please check her out. Welcome back, Ebony.
Thanks so much for having me back. I'm excited to be here. Happy end of the 2025 era. Woo!
Girl, are you ready for it, or do you want to live that back?
Oh no, honey, I am so over 2025. Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
2025 has been a roller coaster, but I feel like it has given us clarity.
Yeah,
for
for
sure.
sure.
And so today we are going to talk about faith over fear, stepping into 2026 boldly.
Yeah.
Ebony, before we get started, I always like to recap how have you been. The last show that you were on was in September. So that was around your
Wow.
birthday. I think you've been to New York twice since then.
Yes.
I see you rocking your New York stuff,
Yes,
your
yes, yes.
swag. So
Yes.
tell all the listeners that follow you, how have you been?
It has been such a roller coaster ride, honey. It's been fun. It's been exhilarating. It has been scary. I've had
Yes.
some serious stomach pits, like it's been some overwhelming healing journey, but it's been a year for sure that I will never forget.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
with that being said, it's a wrap. It's then. This show is gonna air December the 18th.
Oh, that's my
So
grandmother's birthday.
definitely
Shout out, mommy. Happy birthday.
the 18th, my grandma, she was living, she was born December 19th, 1919.
Wow. Wow. Mommy,
All the 19.
1941. She'll be 84 years old. That's my girl. Shout out to mommy.
Shout out to Lizzie, Miss Lizzie.
Miss
So for
Robinson
sure,
Chow.
Miss Robinson. I'm not trying to get in no trouble.
Don't
So
get
yeah,
in no
so
trouble.
Ebony, so many people, like you said, ended 2025 tired, stretched, unsure, and fear, especially that financial fear,
Mm,
starts to creep in when people are like, well, what happened this year? How am I going to change next year? How am I going to keep it the way it is? So there's fear in making business decisions. There's fear in relationships. So I would love, Miss Ebony Sharonda, what would you tell a person that's entering in 2026 carrying fear and breaking that down into in relationships and also for business purposes?
for sure, for sure. Like, first, I want people to understand something that fear is a real feeling, but it should never be your decision maker. In business, fear shows up in the hesitations, the overthinking, the shrinking back, or the constant second guessing. Fear will have you sitting on $1 million idea because you was worried about failing, being judged, or not having enough. Okay. But I tell my clients all the time that fear is information, not a stop sign. If
Mm-hmm.
you follow my show, Ebony Sharonda, you'll hear signs of the road. When my father and I during chaplain chats, we talk about this, right? That there's warning signs. There's things that show up that sometimes we want to dismiss them, but oftentimes it's there for a reason, not to stop you or pause you, but oftentimes to stop for faith. Stopping your faith, you need to start praying, right? Getting some clarity to those things. God's going to give you those answers, and then once you have those answers, you become more confident in your decision making. Now you can go in and you can be like, okay, now I got all the information. Now I can activate, right? That's what faith, clarity, confidence, and activation is all about. It's literally pausing, stopping, realizing, you know what, this is a real feeling. I'm feeling this and why. Let me talk to my creator. Let's get real with this so that I can get some clarity on what's really going on. Once I can get past my emotions and all of these
Mm,
other, outside distractions and interferences, then I become clear on what's going on. Now I have the confidence, not just in my business, but in my relationships and in my finances, right? Pull out them bank statements. See what it says so that you can
mhm.
it's just information, right?
It's
Like
just information.
it's
Yeah.
nothing gonna happen if you just take a look at it and assess it, but a whole lot can happen if you don't.
Absolutely. I've been doing quite a few workshops this year on budgeting and forecasting. And I tell people all the time to get rid of that fear and anxiety, at least on the
Mhm.
business side, is have a plan, have a budget, have a forecast. Like you said, Ebony, check your bank statement. Your bank has so much free stuff. People ask me all the time, like, how do you manage all your stuff? I'm like, your bank is getting all your information. They have all the data where it'll slice and dice how much you're spending on meals and entertainment, how much you're spending
Mhm.
on utilities, how much so you just have to already utilize the tools that you have, but I think we get so overwhelmed or we don't wanna deal with it or we think it's worse than what it is,
Yep.
and we just put our head in the sand, and you can't do that.
Well, that's why I said we're not just jumping straight into confidence, right? We're starting with, I gotta sit with this, right? I gotta sit with this feeling. I gotta sit with what's going on. And I have to talk to my creator. I gotta sit down and understand what is happening right now. Why am I feeling these feelings? Oftentimes we want to dismiss the feelings and think we can fix it on our own, when in fact
Mm,
you can't do none of this by yourself, right? Like everything starts with the Alpha and the Omega, right? Like if you don't understand that God is the great I am, He created it all. He already knows what this is going to be like for you. If you just pause and stop thinking that you can solve all of the problems yourself,
mhm, mhm,
then you won't keep bumping your head thinking, I'm lacking confidence or I'm not good enough or all these things when in fact you didn't start at the right place, right? The
right,
right
right,
place is start with your faith, get aligned with what God wants for you. What is his will be done, right? And
mhm.
then once you understand that, you've got clarity on, okay, now God's ordering my footsteps. These are words in the Bible, child. I ain't making none of this up.
Yes, preach. You're right about
Yes.
that.
Yes.
And I think sometimes we have so many distractions, and I
Mhm.
know this is going a little off script, Ebony, but I know you're currently going through a fast
Yeah.
and you do multiple fasts. So can you share a little bit? That could be a tool that can help some people get clarity.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the purpose of my fast is not just because like I've had to explain this to so many people and I'm so thankful to have the opportunity to share this with others. But it is fasting is not about losing weight. It's not about cutting calories. It's not about intermittent not eating, right? This is about sacrifice. It's about you giving up the distractions, you giving up the things that you need to get you back on track so that you can get in line with whatever God is trying to tell you, right? Like if you're looking to hear Him, if you're looking to experience a relationship, a true relationship, which is what I believe all believers should be wanting, right? Is that you want a real relationship with God. Think about that man, honey, or think about that girl, right? Like whoever your partner may be, you want to spend all your time with that person, right? Like you want to make them happy. You feel all of this love, all of this joy when you're with them. That is the kind of relationship I desire with my creator, God, right? Like I want to have a relationship where it's not transactional, where I want him to know that I truly, truly appreciate all of the things that he's already done for me. And I sacrifice the things that I enjoy, I like doing, that's not of any real it's not bringing me closer to God in my relationship with him. So I sacrifice those things, I give them up, and I replace those times with things that are building my faith, right? Building my strength, building my armor so that I can get out here and fight this war, girl, because we in a war out here. So my fasting is for
Oh,
that
yeah.
reason.
Yeah. And, everything we're talking about is faith over fear. And I always
Mhm.
remember the great 50 Cent some time ago said, you can't have faith and you can't worry. And I know people like, I get that's hard to say. Like, we live in a world where there's
Mhm.
inflation, there was just a government shutdown, there's
Mhm.
all of these things.
Mm.
But I always think about, even for folks that might not necessarily believe in God or they're not really religious, even
Right.
from a science standpoint, even before you have to have a major surgery, you got to fast. Anytime that you have to get test results for your blood, you got to fast,
Start at
and
0.
you have to start there. So I would just recommend anybody, even if it was just from, it doesn't, and I think some people also think of fast as like 7 days straight and you haven't ate or drank anything. You're drinking your water, you're having tea, and you can get set a time that maybe it's when the sun sets, this time of the year, it's at 6 o'clock, or even I intermittent
Mhm.
fast. That's
Mhm.
something that we all have been doing. And I
Mhm.
see a difference with just my mind too, if I'm
Yeah,
not fasting, if I'm not exercising, all of those things. Of course, we tell people consult with your doctor if you have
of
medication, all those
course.
things. However, I've always have gotten clarity whenever I fasted from anything,
Amen.
regardless if it's food, if it's I've been watching too much TV, I've been
Mhm.
traveling too much, I've been eating too much junk, or I've been surrounding myself around people that might not be the best influences. So thank you for that nugget, and just you doing it is without you realizing it, it influences other people. So keep doing what you're doing. So I know a lot of times Ebony's like, I'm doing all these things and I'm following what I know God's telling me to do, but I wonder what's the reason. But just know I'm looking, a lot of people are following your lead. So of course we
Thank
got to
you.
talk about some, absolutely, some real life testimonies, because we want to, we pretty and everything, but people want to know, what have you been through for you to be giving us this advice, honey, to be
Girl.
talking about how you in 2025, Ebony, how did you choose faith over fear and saw God move?
Oh, yeah. So, on the business side, 2025, we took a big turn, a big pivot in our business. We opened up the year gangbusters with like 3 contracts that we were executing on, all commercial. We had a full team, things were going well. And then I would say by April, May, we started getting into a fight with one of our general contractors. And so things started getting real, real testy with us. It had been there all along. So when we talk about warning signs and signs of the road, right, there were things there, I would say, that were very early on that, we just didn't, we saw, but we didn't really pay attention to in a way where we probably, I don't even know if we could have. Hindsight looking
Mhm.
at it, we were already in. And so I would say by June, I resigned from that contract. We did not I sent them a breach of contract notification, and we were in this lull of we owed everybody and their mother. I ain't have enough money. Payroll was coming due. Girl, we was stacking up debt. Your girl was not sleeping, right? And
Oh,
so
man.
I wasn't even really sure how we were going to get out of it. We had closed out the other jobs that we were working on. So, in terms of revenue, it hit our top line. But in terms of cash flow, we were broke, right? Like, we didn't know how we were going to pay bills from one week to the next, child. I was in here not sleeping.
I
Right,
know
just
it.
trying to figure it out. I really didn't know. On the personal side, meanwhile, while all of this is going on simultaneously, I'm dealing with a separation and legal divorce at this point. So by 1st of May, I was served with temporary relief papers, as
Got
they are
served.
served, ma'am. You've been served with temporary relief papers, and by my now soon to be ex husband. And we were in the middle of what was starting to be a very heated divorce. It was some sacrifices that I made on my part. And so that's where some of my fasting journey was a part of, where I was just seeking God, asking Him what to do. I was feeling really attacked. I mean, I was catching it on both sides, right? I was like,
Mhm.
Lord, listen, I don't know what in the world. I mean, I was deep in the Job season. God
Huh?
had just stripped everything away from me. All of my resources felt like they were dried up from the inside looking in, right? Like, looking at myself, I was like, "Girl, you ain't got nothing left," right? Like, you out,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? You tapped out on
Right.
all ends. You got this man, you got this job, you got all this stuff happening, sis. Like, yo, what are you gonna do? And I started really just, tapping in, right? Like, I started fasting, I was joining we have a book club, the book club was heating up, we were just reading one book after another. My father and I started meeting on Tuesdays for what started out for my journeyman's exam, turned into a salvation roundtable. We started Kingdom Building Ministries, where we do Bible study on Thursday, prayers on Monday and Friday morning, Tuesday salvation roundtable. Like, I was going to church online literally every day except for Wednesday and Saturday. And
Mhm.
we were like building a men's group. We built our secret sister group. We just started building, building, building. And in the process of that, I just was like, I'm changing my name. I'm rebranding. I don't want anything else to do with the old situation. Like, God is creating a new man, right? And I am stepping out. And so Ebony Sharonda was branded from that, which is my first and middle name. And it was all about just like finding my identity, you know? And so meanwhile, when I started to really surrender, and honey, that was a
Mhm.
whole battle surrendering. When I finally started to surrender, like, the business just started to level out, right? Like,
Mhm.
all of a sudden I had turned in that, we're not doing business with you anymore. I negotiated a deal to get my vendors paid off. We started getting financing that we had been sitting on for what felt like a year. It finally came through. We were
Mhm.
just starting to see all the work that I had been doing leading up to that, that God was directing me to do, but took my focus off of and put my focus on Him, because I was
Mhm.
studying the word and doing devotional and fasting and all the things. It just all started to come together. Everything started
Mhm.
leveling out. Anxiety went down. Sleep habits changed. I was just feeling the best that I had felt in months. My kids were
Everyone's saying how you're
happy.
glowing, and we're like, "Ebony, you look great."
Yeah, listen, honey, God
Losing weight.
did. He did that.
Yes,
He
and
did
people
that.
reaching out to you for project management that
Yeah.
didn't require materials and folks, and all the money goes to Ebony Sharonda.
Period. I
That's
mean, it was
amazing.
such a wonderful, wonderful pivot, right? It was a wonderful pivot of me
Mhm.
surrendering all the things that I thought I had control over to God, and God just saying, "Watch me work. Watch me whip. Watch me nay nay." That's what he said.
That's what the
Hey.
kids say. I love that because so many people can relate to that. I think people just see, Ebony, you're a very strong person, and we can see things on social media. But like you said, you was going through the storm, honey. You've been battling, and now you're starting to come on the other side. But the key thing that I heard was that you stayed in it and you were continuing to try different things. You
Yeah.
stayed focused so that when you came on the other side, it wasn't like you're like, okay, what do I do now? You already were
Yeah.
building. You were
I wasn't
building as
laying in
you
the
were.
bed crying, child. No, it wasn't that. It was not that. It was work. It was like real legit work, but my work focus wasn't focusing on, "Oh, I'm doing this because I needed to, like, I gotta save the company." No, it was, "I'm serving you, Lord, and whatever you want me to do, I'm gonna do." And that's what surrender is. So there were days that I woke up and I did nothing because God didn't give me instructions to do anything but rest, right? And
Mhm.
so I
Mhm.
needed to rest. And in my resting, I would come up with like, "You need to have this event, right? And you need to host
I'm
this
so glad you
thing."
said that because sometimes people feel like they have to always be doing, and things won't come to you if you don't take that pause,
Yeah,
that
man, it's all
rest.
mushy. It's mushy. It's colluded. It's a bunch of, hodgepodge of ideas that you really can't even manifest into anything because it's too many other distractions around that's really polluting the idea, right? So
Right.
you
Right.
gotta be intentional. Just be intentional about spending time with him. And so that's what he made me do. It was just when I surrendered to him, I realized that I was not in control of my day, that I should be starting my day with God first, and God would order my steps and he would tell me what to do. And of course, I'm not out here winging it. We got a purpose. We know what the
Yes.
purpose is. We've got a vision. We wrote the vision down and made it plain, right? Like we
Mhm.
know we're doing the work, but in the process of doing that work, you've got to let God tell you what's next, how to do it. You don't just make these decisions on your own because they generally don't work out the way that you had hoped anyway.
Yeah. And when you do choose faith over fear, you're going to have stumbling blocks. You're going to make mistakes. I think that's what people like. I have faith that it didn't work out. Okay. Well, now have faith that the next thing could work out or the next thing.
Yeah.
And just a quick little for me in 2025, it definitely was pivoting and leaning more into on the business side, the workshops, the
Mhm.
Veronica Edwards Show coming on
Mhm.
YouTube, the seminars, things that I was saying no to, and that my great team, your daughter, Jylen, Aaron, our executive producer, they've been saying for a while, Veronica, you need to be doing video. I don't want
Yep.
to do video. Thought it was so hard. And with the team, we've been figuring it out. Or same thing with workshops and seminars. I'm like, I don't wanna be doing this. I don't think that it even has a value. I already do some classes already with Mountain BizWorks, then people started reaching out to me from Mountain BizWorks. "Oh, we took your class. We work with this organization, and this organization, by the way, pays 3, 4 times more than what Mountain
Nice.
BizWorks is paying," who we love, but I was blocking my blessings because I was so focused on the fear if this didn't work out.
Mhm.
Or the fear, if I look stupid or how's this gonna come? And we just have to be okay with it's not gonna be perfect. And like you
And then
said,
what? Okay, so let's just and this is something again, I ask my client, right? Like, if you and I were having a session right now, I would say, "Okay, and you look stupid, and then what?"
people gonna make fun of me. I don't know, it takes us back to that
Right.
childhood. It
Then you
goes
just like,
back.
when you say it out loud, then you realize how foolish the thought really is, because at the end of the day, who's gonna pay your mortgage? Right? Like, who's tithing? You, or like, who why does it matter what somebody else
Right.
is thinking about you, when in fact we're only here to please one. That's the creator, right? Like, we don't care. If I post a video, I'm not going back thinking like, "Okay, God, I did the work. Now make 5,000, make this video viral," right? No, you're doing this. We're doing these things because we want to get the information out, right?
Mhm.
And if God blesses us in return because we're obedient for doing the work, it's just a mindset change, right? Like, if you can, just like we talk about with entrepreneurs and business, everybody is not an entrepreneur because they have a great idea or they can bake really well, right? It is a mindset. It's a mindset of understanding that no, this doesn't create freedom for me to be an entrepreneur where I get to set my own hours and be my own boss and I'm gonna be laying on the beach, right? Like, no, you playing yourself, right? Because that's not how it works. Maybe eventually you can work hard enough and God blesses you to have those things, but the harsh reality of entrepreneurship is it's lonely. You work all the time. You think about this like a child every morning, noon, and night, right? Like, you're
Mhm.
responsible for other people. If you have people who work for you, and that stress and burden you carry because you want to make sure that they're going to eat and their families are well taken care of. And in the process, you ain't got no social security, any of those things, unless you create that pathway for yourself, right? And so yeah, like, it's not that cushy, let's sell you this pipe dream. It's hard work, right? It's real work. And it's the same thing in your faith, right? Yeah, fear, it can easily come, but so can faith. If you put just as much energy into believing that God is going to provide, that God's going to do the things he said. I mean, in Joshua, he tells us, be courageous, right? Because I am with you. If you can just take that spirit of courageous, and fearful and fearfully and wonderfully made, if you could just take those things with you every day, but you got to work at it,
Yes.
right? You're not going to wake up and be every single day successful in
Mhm.
anything. Every day you got to get up and work at it, but put the work into God first. and then all the other things gonna work out.
Yeah. And you just have to show up sometimes. Sometimes when you don't even want to. We talk about that. It's raining, it's cold. I'm like, this time of the year, I don't want to get up out the bed. And it's not that I'm depressed. It just feels good in the bed. I don't want to get up. I don't
It's
want to do
warm.
stuff. Yes. And if I don't show up, I'm missing a potential opportunity that I'm planting a seed now that I don't even realize that it could be a year from now or 2 years from now. So that's another thing too. When you're doing all the things and you're putting in the work, don't look like you said for that this went viral or we were just talking about before the show. Yes, we love the stats and all that, but I'm finding even though we haven't reached our 100 subscriber goal, I got 70 something year old aunties reaching out to me saying, Veronica, I watched your show and this was so great. They might not have
Yeah,
subscribed, but they're listening, or I'm walking out in the community and they're like, oh, I see your shirt, the Veronica
yeah.
Edwards Show. I'm gonna check it out. And to me, if it just touches one person and then that affects their generation, then my work is done.
That's what
So,
it's all
Ebony,
about.
before we exactly. So before we wrap up, we talk about
Mhm.
stepping into 2026 boldly. What would be the one assignment, Ebony Sharonda, that you would give
Mm,
folks listening before 2026 begins to make that a reality?
okay. I would say kinda got a few. All right, but release what
Please,
didn't work,
please.
release what didn't work. Right? Stop dragging old strategies, old habits, and old versions of yourself into the new year. Release that. Surrender every fear of God. Write it down, speak over it, give it back to Him. Right? Write the vision and pray over it. We just talked about that. Writing the vision and making it plain. Your vision needs both your discipline and God's direction. We talked about obedience and discipline. And don't take old fears into the new year. If it kept you stuck in 25, it can't come in 26. So surrender, write it down, d get rid of the junk, release that thing,
Mhm.
and don't take old fears into the new year.
Yes. Now, I know that's easier said than done. So, what are some things, Evan, that you do personally that you already are thinking about, like, okay, going into 2026, this is something I'm going to do that did not work? Like I'm just going to do something different. Can you share?
Mm, yes, so in 26, what didn't work excuse me, in 25, what didn't work that I'm not bringing into 26 is control. I
Ooh.
am I am surrendering control, over everything, right? Just I didn't realize just even in the granular how much I try to control things. And
Mhm.
so I ain't taking that with me. It was too heavy. That luggage got to
Yes.
get dropped off. I'm hoping it's get
Yes.
lost in the luggage somewhere in the airport, in a different
Girl, we
country.
some bag ladies. We like our
Yes,
bags.
I ain't
I would
carrying it.
have to agree, dealing with mommy's health journey this year, that showed me everyone that knows me, I'm a planner and I'm
Yep.
organized. And my dad would always say, God laughs at our plans,
Yes,
and
he
I'm like,
does.
whatever, daddy, I have to have a blueprint. I'm an accountant. But that is true. I'm getting better with going with the flow. Like
Yeah.
I can have my plan, but I have to be okay to, like you say, move when God says move and listen to the warning signs. So sticking with my intuition, which I feel a lot of times is God talking to me, is my good
Mhm.
intuition, and just listening to that and not, I guess villainizing myself or creating all this in my mind when really, like you said, faith over fear. If I just do it and if it doesn't work, then what? So just moving faster, like applying
Yeah.
those principles faster. Just like that,
Yeah.
Ebony, we're to the end
Yeah.
of 2025.
Thank you,
Thank you
Father. Thank
so
you.
much. So, Ebony, before we go, tell us what are the things that Ebony Sharonda is going to be pushing early next year into 2026?
Oh my goodness. So I've got some online content that Ebony Sharonda is going to be pushing out. So as you guys know, I do business coaching as well. So slowly incorporating the business coaching and our faith principles into more of a discipline that you can order online. So be on the lookout for the website where you can take some online courses. I will also be rolling out a new event in the first quarter of 2026. So stay tuned for a new event that's going to be rolling out that also will be more business centric, where we'll be talking more about just business and prioritizing getting things in order for the 26th year. And then, of course, we still podcasting out here on YouTube, Ebony Sharonda. We still have Chaplain's Chat. Stay tuned for more of that. As you guys heard, my son was on there. We talking a little bit about Yeshua and versus Jesus. And we just trying to figure out a way how we can all get closer to the Most High. And then we also have, just stay connected with us on Substack, Instagram, Facebook, and stay tuned for just whatever God just lays on this big brain of mine to roll out. Because, I don't even be knowing some days I just wake up and I'm just like the vessel.
Ebony is a team of one. She is doing her YouTube, she's doing her marketing, she's doing her emails. You've been doing an outstanding job. And I'm sure a year ago you thought you never would be able to do these things. So
Girl.
again, perfect example of just let go, surrender, and you'll be surprised what God has in store for you. So thank you so much, Miss Ebony Sharonda, for joining us. Thank you guys, the V team, for watching and listening to the Veronica Edwards Show. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, Buzzsprouts. We got Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the things where you can listen to shows. And until next time, stay balanced and financially savvy.